All right, Andrea, stand by there. And we want to bring into this conversation Mark Halperin, who's managing editor with Bloomberg Politics. Mark, good morning to you.
Good morning. Mark, presidents don't do this office. They don't go into the Oval Office, address the nation in prime time. This president hasn't done it since 2010. These are moments of importance and crisis. Because of that, are you surprised that in this speech he didn't offer anything new in terms of strategy or policy, that it was basically stay the course?
I'm surprised by that. I'm also surprised that he didn't do a good enough job, or maybe any job, of reaching out to Republicans. This is a time when we need national unity. We're in the middle of a presidential campaign. He's leaving office in a little over a year. The reaction from Republicans, as Andrew said, uniformly bad. Not just the presidential candidates, but the Capitol Hill leaders. I think nothing new and no sense of bipartisanship. Not good for the country.
But, Mark, the White House will be quick to say this is not a speech that is for the political class. It's not for you. It's not for this table. It's for regular Americans who might just be tuning into this issue. The problem with that, as I see it, is, number one, it acknowledges that they need reassurance, that up to this point they haven't gotten it, and number two, that they don't know what our strategy is. Shouldn't they?
They need to know what the strategy is. And again, I think Americans look at Washington. Look, this is the fundamental responsibility of Washington, to protect the country, to protect American interests abroad. And when the president comes out, gives a speech, and then it becomes just politics, it becomes for the chattering class, I think that's a failure of leadership of both parties. But the president's got the primary responsibility now. And you would like a world, like after 9/11, where the president addresses the country, says we're in crisis, and Republicans say we're going to put partisanship aside for a moment and work with them. That's not what we're seeing.
Andrea, using the president's own words, he said early in the speech, Americans see the threat of terrorism as a cancer with no immediate cure. Based on what you heard from the president last night, should Americans feel that at least there is a cure down the road?
No, and I thought that was actually a bad metaphor to use, because people think of cancer in one way, and what he needed to project, as Mark was saying, is that we have solutions. And in fact, with no new strategy to announce, having elevated this to a Sunday night primetime speech from the Oval Office, which is, you know, incredibly important.
Rarefied air.
It's rarefied air, as you point out. And to not have a new strategy, to not explain new military options or new political options, or to embrace some sort of unifying vision, really is a problem. Our new poll is indicating that there are real concerns about terrorism. I mean, there is a partisan divide on this, but so many people are now, after Paris, and now, of course, San Bernardino, bringing it home. He needed to speak after Paris. It was too long for him to not try to correct the imagery that he had conveyed.
Well, in fairness, he did hold a press conference after Paris.
But a press conference is not, and a press conference doesn't convey that. He needed to address the nation sooner, a lot of critics in his own party say. And in fact, he came to this position last night because of Democrats as well as Republicans, but primarily Democrats in the leadership who are up for Senate seats, saying you've got to deal with this. The country is really scared.
This isn't a business as usual moment, right. And too much of what he's done, including last night, even using the Oval Office, was business as usual. Repeating basically what he thinks the right policy is, with nothing new and no sense of urgency, which is what a lot of Americans are feeling.
Mark Halperin, Andrea